Life rarely goes the way we planned. You make dua, you work hard, you expect a certain outcome, and then something completely different happens. Doors close, people leave, opportunities disappear. And in that moment your heart quietly asks, why, ya Allah, I was doing everything right. But what if the problem is not that things are going wrong? What if the problem is that we are measuring life with our limited vision, while Allah is planning it with His infinite knowledge? There is a subtle but powerful shift that changes everything, moving from resisting Allah's plan to accepting it. Not passive acceptance, not giving up, but a deep, conscious surrender that says, Ya Allah, I trust that what you chose for me is better than what I would have chosen for myself. Because the reality is, we only see the surface. We see the job we didn't get, but we don't see the harm we were protected from. We feel the pain of a broken relationship, but we don't see how it was saving our heart from something far worse. We cry over delayed dreams, but we don't realize that Allah is aligning something greater, something purer, something that will bring us closer to Him. Allah does not make mistakes. Not in your life, not in your timeline, not in your story. Sometimes the delay is the mercy. Sometimes the rejection is the protection. Sometimes the pain is the path to a version of you that you would have never become otherwise. Think about it. How many times in your life did something not work out and later you said, Alhamdulillah, it didn't happen. At that time, it felt like loss. But with time, Allah showed you the wisdom behind it. So why is it so hard to trust Him now? Because we are attached. Attached to outcomes. Attached to people. Attached to how we think life should look. And attachment makes surrender difficult. We want control. And when we don't have it, we feel uneasy. But control was never ours to begin with. Real peace begins when you let go of the illusion of control and hold tightly to the certainty of Allah's wisdom. Acceptance does not mean you stop making dua. It doesn't mean you stop striving. It means that after you've done your part, your heart is at ease with whatever Allah decrees. You're not constantly questioning, not constantly comparing, not constantly resenting. Instead, your heart says, if this is what you chose, then there is good in it, even if I cannot see it yet. And something beautiful happens when you reach this level of trust. Your anxiety decreases, your heart softens, your relationship with Allah deepens. You begin to see life differently, not as a series of random events, but as a carefully written story, authored by the one who loves you more than you love yourself. Allah's plan is not just about where you end up, it's about who you become along the way. Every test is shaping you, every delay is refining you, every hardship is bringing you closer to Him, if you allow it to. And sometimes the greatest transformation doesn't come from getting what you wanted. It comes from understanding why you didn't get it. So when something doesn't go your way, instead of immediately asking, why me? Try asking, what is Allah teaching me through this? That question opens a door. It shifts you from frustration to reflection, from resistance to growth. You start to see lessons in places where you once saw only pain. And remember, Allah's plan is not always comfortable, but it is always perfect. Perfect in its timing, perfect in its outcome, perfect in its wisdom. Your role is not to understand every detail. Your role is to trust, to be patient, and to keep turning back to Him. Because at the end of the day, the heart that accepts Allah's decree is the heart that finds peace, not because life becomes easy, but because it knows it is in the hands of the most merciful. And when you truly accept that, when you stop fighting what Allah has written and start embracing it, that is when your life begins to change. One of the greatest internal struggles a person faces is the need to feel in control. We plan, we calculate, we set expectations, and we convince ourselves that if we do everything right, life should unfold exactly as we envisioned. But life has a way of humbling that assumption. Things don't always go according to plan, and when they don't, it creates anxiety, frustration, and sometimes even doubt. This is where the concept of truly trusting Allah begins to take shape, not as a theory, but as a lived reality. Trusting Allah means recognizing that your vision is limited, while His knowledge is absolute and encompasses what was, what is, and what will be. You may see only what is in front of you, a single moment, a single outcome, but Allah sees the entire picture. He knows the consequences of every path, the hidden harms, the unseen blessings, and the long-term impact of every decision and event in your life. When something doesn't go your way, it is not a failure of your effort. It is a redirection by the one who knows what you do not. The difficulty lies in letting go of the illusion that you were ever in control to begin with. Control gives a false sense of security. It makes you feel safe because you believe you can shape your future exactly how you want it. But in reality, control has always been partial at best. You control your intentions, your efforts, your choices, but not the results. The outcomes have always been in Allah's hands. When a person holds tightly to this illusion of control, every unexpected turn feels like a disruption, almost like something has gone wrong. But when you begin to internalize that Allah is the ultimate planner, those same moments start to feel different. They may still be difficult, still painful, but they are no longer meaningless or random. They carry purpose, even if that purpose is not immediately clear. Letting go does not mean becoming passive or careless. It does not mean you stop striving or planning. Instead, it means you do your best with sincerity and then release the outcome from your heart. You stop tying your peace to a specific result. You stop believing that your happiness depends on things unfolding exactly as you imagined. And in that release, there is a quiet strength. A strength that comes from knowing that even when things don't make sense to you, they are still under the control of the most wise, the most merciful. One of the most difficult things for the heart to accept is that what feels like a loss may actually be a form of mercy. When something is taken away from you, when a door closes, or when an opportunity slips through your hands, your immediate reaction is often disappointment. Sometimes even heartbreak. You begin to question what went wrong, what you could have done differently, or why allowed this to happen. But what you see in that moment is only the zahir, the surface of the situation, not the reality behind it. Allah, in His infinite knowledge and mercy, sees what you do not. He knows the unseen consequences of what you are asking for, what you are pursuing, and what you are attached to. Something you are desperately holding on to might carry harm that your heart is not ready to bear. A relationship you wanted so badly might have distanced you from Allah slowly and subtly. A job you were chasing might have brought stress, compromise in your values, or a path that takes you away from your purpose. But because you only see the immediate benefit, you struggle to understand why it was taken away. Rejection, then, is not always deprivation. Sometimes it is divine redirection. It is Allah, out of His care for you, placing a barrier between you and something that could have hurt you spiritually, emotionally, or even physically. And the pain you feel is not because Allah is punishing you, but because your heart was attached to something that was never meant for you in the first place. Delays carry a similar wisdom. When something you long for does not come at the time you expect, it can feel like you're being overlooked or forgotten. But Allah is never unaware of your situation. The delay may be preparing you, strengthening you, or aligning circumstances in ways you cannot yet see. There are qualities you need to develop, lessons you need to learn, or even people you need to meet before what you are asking for can truly be good for you. Even loss, in its deepest form, holds meanings that are often hidden. It can soften the heart, detach it from the dunya, and redirect it toward Allah in a way that comfort never could. It teaches you reliance, patience, and sincerity in your connection with Him. What feels like something being taken away may actually be Allah protecting your future, preserving your faith, and guiding you towards something far better than what you had imagined. There is a common misunderstanding that acceptance means passivity, that if you are truly content with what Allah decrees, you stop striving, you stop making dua, and you simply settle. But that is not the essence of true acceptance. True acceptance is an internal state of the heart, not the absence of effort. It is the ability to continue striving with sincerity while your heart remains at peace with whatever outcome Allah chooses for you. A believer is not meant to be passive. You are encouraged to plan, to work hard, to pursue what is good, and to turn to Allah constantly in dua. You ask Him with hope, you put in effort with sincerity, and you take the means available to you. But after all of that, there comes a moment where the result is no longer in your hands. This is where the heart is tested, not in the action, but in the reaction. If the outcome aligns with what you wanted, gratitude flows easily. But if it does not, the state of your heart reveals the depth of your trust. Do you feel resentment? Do you question in Allah's wisdom? Or does your heart remain calm, even in disappointment, because it knows that what Allah chose is better, even if it is not what you desired? This inner calm is what defines true acceptance. It is not that you don't feel sadness or pain. Those emotions are natural and human. Even the prophets experienced grief and hardship. But beneath those emotions, there is a steady foundation of trust, a quiet certainty that Allah's decree is always rooted in wisdom and mercy. Acceptance also means that your relationship with Allah does not fluctuate based on outcomes. You do not become distant when things don't go your way, nor do you only feel close when life is easy. Instead, your connection with Him remains consistent. You continue to make dua, continue to pray, continue to seek Him, because your faith is not tied to getting what you want, but to knowing who He is. It is a powerful place to reach, where your effort is strong, but your attachment to results is light. You strive with excellence, but you surrender the outcome with peace. You want good things, you ask for them sincerely, but your heart ultimately rests in whatever Allah writes for you. And in that balance between effort and surrender, a person finds a unique kind of freedom. Freedom from constant anxiety, from overthinking every possibility, and from feeling shaken by every unexpected turn in life. One of the deepest reasons the heart struggles to surrender is because it becomes attached to specific people, specific outcomes, and specific visions of how life must unfold. These attachments are not always obvious at first. They build quietly over time, turning hopes into expectations, and expectations into emotional dependence. You begin to feel that your peace, your happiness, even your sense of stability is tied to something external. And when that thing is shaken or taken away, your inner world feels shaken with it. Attachment creates a silent condition within the heart. I will be okay only if this happens the way I want. And that condition is what makes surrender so difficult. Because when reality does not align with that expectation, it feels not just disappointing, but almost unbearable. It feels like something essential is missing, as if life itself has lost its balance. This is why two people can go through similar experiences, yet respond so differently. One may face a loss and still find a level of calm, while the other feels completely overwhelmed. The difference often lies in the level of attachment. The more tightly the heart clings to something, the more it hurts when it is tested. Attachment is not limited to people or relationships. It can be to a career path, a dream, a timeline, or even an image of who you thought you would be by now. You may have envisioned your life unfolding in a certain way, by a certain age, in a certain place, with certain achievements. And when life takes a different direction, it feels like a personal loss, not just of circumstances, but of identity. What makes this even more challenging is that attachment often disguises itself as love, ambition, or hope. And while these are not inherently wrong, they become harmful when they become to replace reliance on Allah. When your heart leans more on creation than on the Creator, it becomes vulnerable to constant unrest. The path to inner peace is not to eliminate love or desire, but to realign it. To love and hope, but without making those things the foundation of your stability. To hold on to things with an open hand rather than a closed fist. Because anything you hold too tightly in this world has the potential to control your emotions and disturb your peace. When the heart learns to anchor itself in Allah instead of outcomes, something shifts. You still strive, you still feel, but you are no longer broken by every change. There is a quiet strength that develops, a sense that no matter what comes or goes, your core remains steady because it is tied to the one who never changes. When you look at your life only through the lens of comfort and ease, hardship will always feel like an interruption, something that is delaying you or holding you back. But when you begin to understand life as a journey of growth, every hardship starts to carry a different meaning. It is no longer just something to get through, but something that is actively shaping who you are becoming. Every challenge you face is working on you in ways you may not immediately recognize. Difficult moments expose what is hidden within the heart, your patience, your level of trust, your sincerity, even your weaknesses. Without these moments, much of what lies inside would remain untested and undeveloped. It is through pressure that true character is revealed and refined. Delays, for example, often build qualities that immediate success never could. When something you deeply want takes time, you are being taught patience, not just the ability to wait, but the ability to wait while maintaining faith, while continuing to strive, and while keeping your heart connected to Allah. That kind of patience transforms a person. It deepens your reliance on Him and strengthens your inner resilience. Hardships also have a way of detaching the heart from this dunya. When everything is going well, it is easy to become comfortable, to rely on what you have, and to forget the temporary nature of this life. But when difficulty enters, it shifts your perspective. It reminds you that nothing here is permanent, and it gently redirects your focus back to Allah as your ultimate source of stability and peace. There are also lessons in humility within every trial. When things are within your control, it is easy to feel self-sufficient. But when you are placed in a situation where your efforts alone are not enough, you begin to recognize your need for Allah more deeply. That awareness softens the heart and brings a sincerity to your dua that may not have existed before. Even emotional pain, as heavy as it can be, carries a purpose. It expands your capacity for empathy, allowing you to understand others in ways you couldn't before. It makes you more compassionate, more aware, and more connected to the struggles of those around you. All of these experiences, delays, losses, challenges, are not random. They are carefully placed in your life to mold you into a stronger, more grounded, and more spiritually aware person. Each one is a step in your journey back to Allah, even if it does not feel that way in the moment. There is a subtle shift that changes the entire way you experience hardship, and it begins with the questions you ask yourself. When something painful or unexpected happens, the natural reaction is to ask, why is this happening to me? It feels instinctive, almost automatic. But this question, while human, often keeps the heart stuck. It circles around confusion, frustration, and sometimes even a sense of injustice without offering a way forward. When you remain in that space for too long, the situation begins to feel heavier than it already is. Your thoughts replay the event again and again, searching for answers that may never fully come. And in that process, the heart can slowly drift toward negativity, toward doubt, dissatisfaction, or emotional exhaustion. But when you gently shift the question to, what is Allah teaching me through this, something begins to open. It does not immediately remove the pain, but it gives it direction. It transforms the experience from something that is simply happening to you into something that is working for you. This question invites reflection instead of resistance. It allows you to pause and look beyond the surface of the situation. You begin to consider what this moment is revealing about you, your reactions, your expectations, your level of patience, your reliance on Allah. It brings awareness to areas of your heart that may need growth, healing, or realignment. Sometimes the lesson is about patience, learning to remain steady when things are uncertain. Sometimes it is about trust, letting go of the need to understand everything immediately. Other times, it may be about detachment, realizing that you were holding on to something too tightly and being gently guided to release it. There are also moments when the lesson is about returning to Allah with sincerity, with humility, with a deeper sense of need. Hardship has a unique way of removing distractions and bringing